Welcome to Pre-Snap Podcast, presented by LineStar app. Here's your host, Casey Bubba and Scott Bogman.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pre-Snap Podcast, brought to you by the wonderful people at LineStar Sports. Make sure you check them out on Twitter at LineStar app and at LineStar NFL. And most importantly, download the app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Everything you need in the palm of your hands to build your winning DFS lineups, including Thursday Night Showdown, which we got for you here. You can find myself on Twitter at BDentric. And my co-host, as always, big Steelers fan, big guy that loves pain, on Twitter at Bogman Sports. Scott Bogman, how we doing?
I'm doing pretty solid. Big guy that loves winning Thursday night football showdowns too.
Love it. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Ever since the first week, Bogman has owned me. He's Aaron Rodgers to me. He owns me.
You are the Bears. I am Aaron Rodgers. That's exactly right. So this should be a fun one, man. You know, I might overthink this. I am your classic overthinker sometimes, which I know people who listen to me talk don't believe that, but I will overthink things. I tinker too much, that kind of stuff. But what I did was I pushed myself into a corner and said, all right, you're going to set this lineup 10 minutes before you start recording. So I did that, and I adjusted it a million times in 10 minutes. So I think I got what I want and ready to fire up here.
Well, don't worry, Bogman. No one puts baby in a corner, so you're okay. But more importantly, there are a lot of ways to go on this slate. Yeah. A lot of ways. Like you said, like I built mine beforehand, and usually we try to stick to whatever we put on the show. That's our competition. I always tell Bogman, like, the next day, I'm like, I made another lineup for my other tournaments because there's a million things to play. It's like, I'm going to keep ours in our deal, and it never fails. It's a better one because, well, that's news. But there's a ton of ways to go. So we got the Vikings are at home. They're coming off the big loss to Detroit last second. Pittsburgh coming off the big W against Baltimore because Baltimore didn't complete the 2-point conversion, which I love the Stones for. That's big.
Well, yeah, they're running out of quarters. I don't blame Harbaugh for doing that at all. And you know, TJ Watt doesn't get pressure on Lamar. That throw is probably perfect, and they probably win. So
yeah, and so I loved it. But Minnesota's -3, over under 43.5 at home. Bogman, like when you're getting ready to build these lineups, how are you seeing it playing out for your builds?
You know, I like the over in this game. So I think that I'm gonna go with actually I picked the under. I did pick the under here. It's because of TJ Watt and Kirk Cousins. But we know how this can go. The Steelers are bad in the secondary. The Vikings are bad in the secondary. So I'm gonna have both passers in my lineup for sure. And looking at my lineup, I have 0 running backs in my lineup. Not a single one. No Najee, no Madison. So if you're going with Najee or Madison, our lineups can look pretty different here, Bob.
Yeah, I did not, but that was one thing I was going to mention with the many ways to go on this slate. Both defenses are bad right now. Let's just put it bluntly. But both passing games are really bad. And both these teams can pass a lot. Right. So one thing to already keep in mind is if you want to play running backs, that's going to help you out a ton on this slate. I did not do it. Bogman did not do it. One thing I think about when I'm facing a one-on-one, a head-to-head, you play more of like a cash field than a tournament approach. So I try to get different in like certain ways, but not a ton. But I agree. If you want to play a running back, it's a big way. If you had to pick one of the two, I want Madison personally. But which one would you take? They're both really good.
They're both good, and because I think Najee's the better back, but I think that the line doesn't block as well for him. But they're going up against the worst front. I think I would stick with Najee.
Yeah, they're both really, really good. Really, really good. I'm going Madison. He go Najee, but in reality, we're not going with either of them. So let's see how that one plays out. But I agree. Over looks like a great play. Both passing games are phenomenal. Should be a fun one. So Bogman, lead us off. Who's your captain play?
The captain of my life, Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh,
absolutely,
that's so sweet. That should be above your toilet.
I'm gonna go with Big Ben. Look, the Steelers are not favored in this game, so let's just play that narrative, right? They're losing. What are they gonna have to do? They're gonna have to pass. I think the no huddle has been working way better for Ben than anything else this year. And I out of that no huddle, he calls passing plays all the time. That's how Deontay got so unbelievably wide open against Baltimore last week. That and every single one of their corners was hurt. But I love Ben in this game against a bad passing defense. I know Patrick Peterson comes back, and Peterson does improve their secondary, but it's not like it's great even with Peterson. So I'm going to go with Big Ben, and he's a little more inexpensive than a Jefferson or even a Kirk. So Big Ben is my captain.
Yeah, when you look at Big Ben at captain, he's 13.5. At regular, he's 9K. So there is definitely savings involved there. I can see that. I went down a savings route at captain as well because I wanted so many pieces of this expensive offense. And I'm going KJ Osborne, who's $8,400 at captain. I'm going for the gusto.
That's a dice roll, man. Yeah,
so it's a very big dice roll, but I'm going with Thielen out. He's had 6 or more targets 5 times this season. He has 14 or more DK points in 4 of those games, scored a touchdown in 3 of those games. He should get a lot of action because if the Steelers use half a brain, they're going to want to double Jefferson as much as possible. So if they're throwing the football, KJ is going to get his attempts at least. Can he capitalize? If he somehow finds the end zone twice, he's going to blow up. So I'm going KJ. Just like last week, I went Schultz, and at halftime, you were nervous. You were nervous because it's in a PPR format. I think it's big. Now in FanDuel,
I'm not going to lie. Bubba had me in the first half.
Yeah. Bogman's text at halftime when I was feeding the dogs, he was not happy. But things changed when Taysom Hill decides to throw a pick 6 and then throw a touchdown, like bang, bang, and everything ended. Not this week, though. Not so fast. So I'm going KJ Osborne to save some cash. This way I can load up after this and have some fun in this game. So who are your next picks?
All right. So you want me to do the rest of my lineup here?
Or? Yeah, go for it. Then I'll get mine and we can talk theory and stuff.
I've got Justin Jefferson. I just think that, look, Joe Hayden is the Steelers' best corner, and he would get dusted by Justin Jefferson, and he ain't even playing this week. So I think it doesn't really matter if you bracket him. He's going to smoke Minka. He's going to smoke Terrell Edmonds, Witherspoon, Pierre, Sutton. Doesn't matter who they put on him. He's going to beat him. So Jefferson, I believe, has to be in your lineup this week. So I have him.
Yep.
I told you I have both passers, so I put Kirk on here. If we get good Kirk, that's another way to go. If you want to put Kirk in as your captain, if you get good Kirk, you're going to boom. You're probably going to win money. So at least in double ups and stuff. So I do like Kirk. He's got to be in my lineup. I also have to take your favorite Steeler, Deontay Johnson at 10-2.
Shakalaka.
Yeah, I mean, just an easy pick. Patrick Peterson ain't going to be able to stop him. Ben loves throwing the ball to him. Love it. So my last 2 guys have to be cheap here. So I went with a cheap tight end option out of Pittsburgh, Zach Gentry. He'll get 2 or 3 targets. Hopefully one of them is in the end zone. He's a big dude, so they do like playing him in the red zone every once in a while. I think maybe if Pat gets double covered, they could leak him out on the other side, get him in the end zone or something. That's just kind of a desperation dart throw. The other one I actually do like a little more, and he's cheaper than Gentry at 2,200, DD Westbrook. He saw 42% of the snaps. No Adam Thielen this week. He should see more. So if the Vikings do get down, I kind of expect this to go a little back and forth. DD Westbrook could get open. So for me, I've got Big Ben as my captain. My captain. Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, Deontay, Gentry, and DD Westbrook.
Well, I have Jefferson, of course. I have Deontay, of course. And I have Kirk Cousins, of course, because I'm going with the massive Minnesota passing game with the little Johnson love. So I have 2 guys left. And I almost went Pat Freiermuth because I think he's a beast, as we talked about many times on this. But I did something different. I went all in on my Minnesota. I put Tyler Conklin in there as well.
Okay.
As it gives me that red zone target. It gives another safety valve. Because, the biggest thing when Thielen's there, he's the red zone target. Well, Thielen's out. Last week, Conklin saw 9 targets, caught 7 balls. He got a bunch of end zone targets. I think he's going to be much more involved in that section of the game. Didn't even get a touchdown last week. So now hopefully he finds the end zone. So I'll go Conklin on that one. Gives me 4 pieces of the Minnesota passing game to go with Deontay. And then last but not least, when captain, your captain can't finish a drive, give me Chris Boswell to kick me 3 or 4 field goals in this game and really bring things home. It's one of those deals I'll take the cheap kicker on the team. I don't think wins just for the fact that I still think they score a lot. And he's a damn good kicker too, especially in a dome. So
I told this to Welsh, I didn't even say it out loud. I conjured this missed extra point for Chris Boswell. I didn't even say it out loud. I thought in my own dumb brain last week these are the two best kickers in the NFL, because Tucker's the best kicker to ever kick. Hook him, by the way. No big deal. Chris Boswell has been unbelievable, nailing 50-yarders this year. He hasn't missed a 50-yarder he's attempted yet this season. So I thought, oh, man, these are two best kickers. And then he shanks the extra point. Not a bad snap, not a bad hold, just an outright shank to the left. No good kick from Boswell. And then they had to go for two. They did convert it. And then that forced Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson to go for that two and drop it. So that was what won them the game. But yeah, Boswell is a very good kicker, and I like that pick a lot.
And then the other thing I will mention, if you want to value, like I already got my team locked in, but you mentioned I love the Westbrook call. You see Ray McLeod's been getting a lot of love. He's a little more expensive. He's not super cheap, but he'd be another cheaper guy you could look at. But for the Vikings, Kenny Wanu. 2 carries last week, no yards, but he also got 2 catches on 3 targets, which is big. Week before that, he got a little bit of action as well. He'll get a few plays, similar like how you said with Gentry, just like give me a couple targets, maybe in the end zone. Right. Same thing could happen with Kenny. Like it's a very, very big possibility, especially in the passing game. So he could be a dart, and he's only 2,400.
Forgive me if you said it, because I was looking at his price here real quick. Did you say that last week he didn't play because he was sick? He had an illness.
No,
so he played a couple snaps, but they didn't give him as much run as they wanted to, because the previous game when Dalvin got hurt, he had more snaps.
Yeah,
just randomly coming in. He's a great special teamer and can return a kickoff at any point.
The week before against the Niners,
right? And I think they're going to use him a little bit more in this game as well, because he was sick last week, so he barely ended up playing. He was active, but didn't get a lot of run. So I like that one. I also like CJ Ham. Super, super cheap. You have to pray he falls in the end zone, but he's only $600. So his average points per game is 2.12. But if they get down near the goal line, they don't have Cook, it might be CJ Ham time. It wouldn't be that shocking.
No, not at all. If you want to have some fun with these lineups, like I'm just playing around now, say you wanted to use good old Kenny at 1,600. If I took out, say, Conklin and Boswell, I could go with Kenny, and I could have either Claypool or Freiermuth if I wanted to. If I wanted to upgrade that way. I'm not going to. I'm going to stick with Conklin and Boswell, but I think Kenny allows you to do a lot of things. And it also allows you, if you pay up for, say, put Jefferson at captain or Deontay at captain or one of those things, he definitely allows you to still keep some studs in your lineup. So that'll be a build worth looking at with Kenny. I think might be popular as the day goes on, but at $1,600, I think he'll get used a lot more, and that's a guy to definitely keep your eye on.
Yeah, and the other thing is if you do think it's going to be bad Kirk Cousins, or if you're just a Packers fan and want to get involved in this game and you hate him, Pittsburgh defense might not be bad. They had 7 sacks against Lamar last week. They're not good on the back end, admittedly, but Kirk Cousins throws one up. Minka Fitzpatrick can take him to the house. Exactly. He has before. So Steelers defense might not be a bad call in this game either. If you just see it going that way. I particularly don't. I think it's going to come down to a field goal either way to win the game or something. Probably going to make me have an aneurysm or a stroke in this one. Yeah, I see it playing closer. But if you think the Vikings get into desperation and Cousins starts throwing up 50-50 balls, Fitzpatrick can come down with one of those and perhaps take it to the house.
Yeah, so it should be a fun one. It's a really good game. We've had some kind of rough ones of late, but this one on paper looks to be a fun offensive game, lots of points. Hopefully it all plays out that way, and worst comes to worst, it'll make for a great recap show with Bogman. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. But you guys have fun with that. If you guys want to watch us, go to the LineStar YouTube channel. They got a lot of stuff going on over there, so go check that out. And if you can give us a rate and review on iTunes on the Pre-Snap podcast, we'd appreciate that too. But we'll be back with you guys tomorrow, Friday, with your main slate preview, which is a interesting slate. If you guys listen to the Picks and Bet show already, interesting set of games, to say the least. Yes. So it'll be a really narrow field, I think, of what we're going to be targeting. But until next time, Bogman on Twitter at Bogman Sports. I'm at BD Entrick. Have some fun on Thursday, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to Pre-Snap Podcast, presented by LineStar app. Please like, comment, subscribe, and rate for good karma in your fantasy football game.